What is that?
That
not
is
auto.
my son off in the distance crying, I think.
Aww.
Yeah, that's the trick, right? Because we can hear it better than you can right now.
Because this is noise canceling.
Yeah.
All right, hold on.
Go ahead. Deal with that.
Second.
Good timing.
Deal with that, David says.
Yeah. No.
Go deal with that.
We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing programs beyond the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you squeak. Most times we go deep. I'm your host, David Cameo, and I'm joined by...
Squeaky McGee. Cosmo Mom 09.
Blazy Gardner.
And Rob at Rob Stuffin' Things.
On the TikToks, and Walking Dead Head Rob on YouTube.
Yeah, well,
so you know.
You can find Rob Stuffin' Things is the name of the channel. I'm pretty sure.
You can't find it that way.
Really? Well, then
hard.
I'm bad at social media, so let me fix that at some
It's
point.
so hard. You know how long it took me to find your YouTube channel just to Rob Stuff and Things, Rob Stuff and Things, Rob Stuff ampersand Things.
Well, this is what I need to know. This is what I need to know.
I won in the end. I beat it. I beat the system, everybody. Lately, I've been thinking, when is the last time we actually had really good views on the channel? Because was it around the time when we stopped cursing? I'm wondering if that experiment has failed.
Us not cursing? I think we need to bring back cursing.
We need to bring back cursing. Apparently, the silent majority of people who just ran away after we started cursing, A, have never come back, and B, it's not working.
David.
So I gave it serious thought. Let's bring it back.
Giving us permission to curse?
Not yet. We have to have a discussion on our core channel.
Are we gonna do it like they do on TV, and we get like 2 F-bombs per season, or
Sharondy, give that some very, very considered thought. We have to have like an F meter and an S meter.
No, because you're gonna throw them both out right in the beginning, and then we won't get any.
No, I mean collectively. I'm not collectively, sorry, individually.
We each get 2 F-bombs per season.
Wow, she automatically assumed I'd be a tyrant about it. We only get one of these. Whoever
and
takes
David's
it first gets it
immediately.
Oh,
You're
me.
like, we are effing Squawking Dead. See, I even said effing.
But I'm gonna get beeping. I'm gonna beep it out so it's funnier. It is funnier when it gets beeped, by the way.
It is. It's even funnier when you bleep and it's not a swear word.
I just want to say that they picked a particularly odd place to use their F-bomb in this episode.
Yeah, this food is effing delicious.
Delicious. I mean, I guess he wanted to emphasize how really good the food was. They had to use their F-bomb for that one scene.
They just want to give Daryl more F-bombs this season than they have, because he did, 1 or 2 in the last episode as well?
It was probably just Norman eating the food. And then they were like, we're keeping it in.
and they said, we need a little more Daryl. Okay. And they're like, also, F, this food is great. F. Meanwhile, he asked them the question, you've seen that we have a thriving community back home. Federico is saying this. The mayor, we're interested in knowing how you guys do it. And all he has to say is, I don't know, but this food's effing delicious.
That's a great insight, Daryl. That's all you got to say
Daryl
about
does
it.
not concern himself with the workings of the Commonwealth. Like,
that's true.
He lives out in the woods by himself. You want to build a cabin? He's your man.
That's another thing. You know what I've been seeing a lot more lately? The people who are still loving these shows, these spinoffs and stuff like that, posting little edits. I mean, not little, they're pretty great edits. And I've been reposting them on our TikTok channel. And then you see the comments. They're like, oh, I can't believe Daryl is sticking around, not going to his family. Like, did you forget that for 6 whole years, he was looking for Rick's body or Rick?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so stop. You're lucky it probably won't be 6 years before he returns in real time.
We hope.
From this thing. Maybe. Who knows?
Well, I mean, they only got 1 more season. I don't think they'll do a time skip, thankfully.
If Isabel hadn't died and Carol hadn't shown up with an airplane, would he even have left? Because he seemed like he was making a life right there where he was. It's not like today where you can just jump on a boat or a plane and get home real quick. It's dangerous, as we've seen.
We all agree. I think Isabel would have passed anyway. Would Laurent have made it without Carol? is the whole other question. Right. It's like something like Aaron used to say all the time, Aaron from The Walking Dead, what happened would have happened regardless. It's just like, what do you do now after this? Perfectly good wisdom. Okay, what happened would have happened, so let's move on. But also, it's a good way of excusing yourself from feeling grief, which is terrible.
I just watched the episode where Jesus died today, and that's what he says about Jesus dying.
The first time, yep.
Well,
I don't know if he said this also after he lost his arm. Oh, wait, sorry. I missed that. What did you say?
You said the first time, and I said, well, Jesus only died once, so.
Every day in my
David
heart, he
makes
dies
faces
a
right
little
here.
bit.
Oh, my
You
soul.
meant the first time Aaron says it.
That's what I meant. Yes, that's right.
Yes, I know. But I love the chance to make you look dumb, so.
I don't enjoy making you feel dumb.
Yes, you do. You
No,
shut
I
up.
don't.
You don't have to make me feel dumb. I just am dumb.
I enjoy the prospect of making it funny.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy. And then immediately I'm like, no, poor Rachel, I'm so sorry. Like in Italian for some reason. I don't know. We're talking about Jesus.
'Cause
I got
I'm
my
here.
spirit. Lucchese. Anyway, let's go back. In our merch store, we do have a refreshed version of our Walking Dead 11C designs, both our logo and art designs. I won't describe it. You can see it on the screen, or you can head to our merch store via squawkingdead.com, click the menu on the top left and choose merch, or you can get to the link in our description of our YouTube videos and stuff like that. I highly recommend you at least check them out. And just remember, if you are a Whispers tier member, after the first 2 months, you will receive a free classic t-shirt like Rob will after another 2 months and change.
Yeah, I've only been.
So check out that merch store, Rob, and see what's looking good. To dovetail to that, I am actually in the process of finally actually migrating our designs to our new merch store. The first half of that is going to be the arduous work of actually creating those designs. It's not even the designs. The way TeePublic works is you upload a design and then configure it for all the different things they have available. In Fourth Wall is where we're hosting our site. The way the merch store works there is you pick the item and upload your design to it. So just imagine a catalog of hundreds, literally almost 400 different kinds of products, and uploading that design to every product. So I'm picking a suite of like 12 or 13 items with which to actually upload each design, then configure it for each little product. So it's a bit tedious.
I think they need to update their site to a little more workable.
The plus side to this is the quality of the merch is top of the tier in terms of print on demand. I even set up embroidered designs of some of our logos, which is super cool. Think about it. Instead of a print situation on the shirt, there's an embroidered version of our logo in the middle of the shirt. That's yay big, about 5 inches diameter. On a hoodie, that'd be super cool. So that's being worked on. It is not available for viewing yet. Once it is, I've uploaded the refresh designs that I just spoke about, as well as the Walking Dead Daryl Dixon art design, the only one that we have currently, which is of Carol leading Daryl with a rope, a walker Daryl in the desert. And it says hope is lost in French. Rachel's giving me a look right now. Why are you doing this to my Daryl and Carol? I don't like it. Well, that's why we did it.
At least it's not the other way around.
Touche. I appreciate your silver lining. In sadder news, our friend Julie Brown passed. She was the owner and operator of Georgia Tour Company, which not only acted as a tour company, but she had a lot of merch and stuff like that from The Walking Dead and beyond, belonging to all the tours that she ran. We interviewed her about 3 years ago during that year's The Camp, during Memorial Day weekend. And for those 3 years since then, she had been battling a hard-fought battle against cancer. And, she passed. Let me read what the Georgia Tour Company account wrote about Julie. It'll explain everything. We're heartbroken to share that our beloved friend Julie gained her angel wings yesterday afternoon after a 3-year battle with cancer. She fought with positivity and courage, but her past several months were filled with excruciating pain. For that, we are grateful that she's no longer in pain. From founding the Georgia Mercantile in 2013, which was originally called, if you see our interview, she'll explain that was the original name, to rolling with the changes in the town of Sonoy and offering film tours for 11 years. Julie was an astute businesswoman who loved interacting with the Walking Dead fans who came from around the world. Many friendships were formed with fan friends over the years, and we know many will be very saddened by this news. With Julie's passing, our website will close and will no longer be offering tours. We're so thankful for those who have toured with us over the years. Some multiple times, we do plan to keep this page active, this Instagram account at the very least. And they do have a Facebook page, if I'm not mistaken. Hug your loved ones close, and please keep Julie's family in your thoughts and prayers. This was 5 days ago, actually, sometime between our last recording and this one. We're recording on Monday, September 15th. Yeah, she's amazing. She was so sweet when Bridget was interviewing her. And you could tell this is right around the time where things were starting to get a little rough with both them. Atlanta, what is it called? Peachtree Tours? What was the person who ran the Fun Film ATL account? Was it Atlanta Tour Company, something like that? They had already closed their page down. They had already stopped giving tours. The only thing left was like Water Tower Tours run by Stephen and Monica Sweet at the time. And she was hanging in there until obviously now. And she obviously gave up the store to the two cosplayer folks who ran it for a little while. Something Crazy.
Oh, dang, that's crazy.
Dang, that's crazy. They had they maintained that store. They had some of it for a little while, and then they took it all over, and then they relinquished it as well. Yeah, and then she was just running the tour company from her home at that point. And she would meet people in a spot and give them the tours and stuff like that. Rest in peace, Julie.
Yeah.
Your watch is over, and I'm glad she's not in pain anymore. Oh. If any other news, like any other GoFundMes or anything come up for Julie herself or anything relating to her passing, I'll be sure to pass it along, and we'll make mention of it on social media and also the next episode. And I'll see if there's anything else you can do for her and her loved ones.
Andrew Lincoln is in a new TV show called Cold Water on ITV, and Robert Kirkman just signed on to do a Transformers comic.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
They just announced it in 2025.
Wasn't Skybound doing a Transformer comic for a while now? Like, they've been promoting it for the last year.
I feel like I've heard that, but I don't remember.
In June 2025, it was announced he would be writing a new comic for the Skybound Transformers title.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, they have been doing a Transformers comic for the last year or so, but I guess there's a different
offshoot.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense.
Especially in the Andrew Lincoln being in a new
Very interested in that show.
Yeah.
Well, he also did theater very recently.
Yeah.
I forget exactly. Do you remember what that was, Rob?
I don't remember the title of the show. It was something I've never heard of before. I just saw a bunch of clips on TikTok of like people showing him during his bows and stuff like that.
Right. I remember it was in a round too. It was like in a
circular
theater.
I saw a clip where it was him and someone else, and it was literally, they were pouring water on them like it was raining, like it was a scene. So during his bows, he's just soaking wet and almost like in his underpants and just like taking his bows.
Apropos.
Yeah.
Rick Grimes in his underwear. Soaking
Everyone
wet.
wants to see it.
Exactly. This is the money you paid for, folks.
Because he was doing that show, I met someone who was actually able to get to the stage door and get signatures from him, and that's how
I'd seen some photos.
Yeah, that's how I got that guy. So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, you have a picture of that on your...
I definitely did a video with it on TikTok, and then I posted it to Facebook probably, but...
Right. That was the one you tagged us in, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
The title of this episode is La Ofrenda, and since Bridget is here, I can now proudly say Spain Spanish words the right way. And I learned why and when you pronounce the TH sound in Spanish. It's very interesting, actually. But yes, La Ofrenda, which means the offering. How does this title relate to this episode?
Offering of one of the daughters from the village to the king.
The Alcazar.
I'm bad with Spanish, so excuse me if I don't try to pronounce any of it.
It does effectively mean the ruler.
Does Spain still have a monarchy? Or are they like France and they got rid of their monarchy? Because I don't feel like I hear a lot of stuff about the King of Spain in the media or anything.
I feel like it's a president.
It is a constitutional monarchy.
Yep.
You just found out too. So it is a lot like England. Well, and okay, I had written this in my notes, but it feels like, considering that Britain was a parliamentary monarchy, there are similarities. There's twinning going on between Spain and England. If they mentioned it in this episode too, it wasn't a throwaway thing. That last episode, we met the last man standing, quote unquote. Remember who said that to Daryl? In England, and now he's gone too. Is that to say it might happen to Spain too? Because they too, like Fede said about Spain, brother against brother, people started turning on each other. Is that to say, well, if you don't wise up, if you don't stand for yourselves, that could happen to you too? I mean, we're saying this, we're asking that question, not the show.
I like that historically Spain and England are enemies, and when they said that there was nobody left in England, they were like, oh, how sad. But in reality, they were probably like, ha ha, because England and Spain have battled each other Up until recent times, less than 200 years ago, they were mortal enemies and would attack each other on the seas and everything. So they were like,
We're
we
barely
win.
a country
We
200
win,
years ago.
finally.
What are you talking-
I said Spain and England. I didn't say America.
No, but just like perspective, right? You're thinking, wait, we're barely 250 years old. Wait a minute. But I see your point, and I'll raise you. I think when most people hear they couldn't hack it, all of them died. They'll be like, not us. Not us. We're too proud. We're too cool for school. Right? I don't think it's like a jab at England more than it's like, oh, that's because it's them. They're not us. And I think you kind of always have to say that about oneself. Yeah, not us, because you have to fake it till you make it at the very least. I don't think it's more of a schadenfreude thing, but it's funny to think about from the comfort of our own squeaky couches, right, Rachel?
Mm-hmm.
I think the guy at the end that was hanging off of the wall, Daryl cut his hand and made him drop. I feel like he was the sacrifice. He was an offering to the walkers.
Oh, very nice. I applaud this wholeheartedly. He took out his sacrificial knife. It looked kind of, the dagger looked, did it had like wobbly edges? Am I wrong?
I didn't catch it. I didn't know.
I remember when he first pulled it out of the rack or whatever, rack of weapons, the dagger looked triangular, right? Like straight up. Yeah, obviously like an isosceles triangle. And it had like a warped, like a wavy edge on each side that was not unintentional. And then the other weapon kind of looked like, remember the weapons that, what's his name? Nico Tortorella's character in The Walking Dead World Beyond, the thing with the blade at the end.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It kind of looked like
it
that,
looked
right?
like a stick with a blade on the end, basically.
Yeah.
Oh,
Except longer.
I noticed the curved edges on the knife. I thought when you were talking about that, Dave, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the handled weapons when you were talking about the curved blade. No, it was a dagger.
Yeah.
I did notice that. That was really cool.
I feel like I should have looked that up because it looks pretty unique. Oh, it's like the Morning Star, like Daryl Little Morning Star in season 10.
Much like probably in France, they have probably raided their antiquated weapon stores in their museums and such because you don't have the modern weapons. In this village, they obviously don't have the capacity, I would say, to make bullets. Maybe somewhere else in Spain they do, maybe somewhere like where the royals live or something. But it seems to me like it's more natural for them to use older weapons because they just don't have the newer things.
I think some of these designs are based on the Alcazar is like, it references the castle. So it's not really the king of Spain. I'm going to bring it to the dagger, but Alcazar really refers to old buildings of Moorish design, which means like when the Muslims were in Spain and then subsequently tried to conquer Spain and called it Andalusia. So a lot of Arabesque style homes are now called Alcazar. So it's very interesting. So is it going back to really the old ways or is it going back to anyway? So the dagger itself looks very Moorish in design too. So it sort of looked like that.
Okay.
It was very dark, so you really couldn't see it. And I can tell you, this is like a Yemenite blade. My parents used to have a blade like this. It's very Middle Eastern in design. But this is sort of what it looked like.
That's the blade?
That's the dagger I was referring to.
Oh, okay. I have a small dagger, but the blade's not
Curvy.
Oh, like wavy. Yeah, like that
not like
one was.
ripply like that.
So I love, listen, we're going back to the cultural things that we loved about The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon's first two seasons, or mostly the first season. So this is just like another avenue to look at more cool stuff. We got on this because of Manuel being the sacrifice for the walkers, etc., and for also Daryl's safety. We all make sacrifices to survive. And how would we have it if we didn't? Like Fede was saying near the end, talking over Daryl and making that sacrifice during the... Anything else in terms of the offering?
The burning of the masks that they put on the fire at the end.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up. That's an actual thing.
I was thinking about that too because they made sure to show them very prominently at the beginning when they walked into the city and they had them on the walls. There's a painting by Diego Rivera that is called The Offering. I read about it earlier and I'm not very into art, so I'm not going to phrase anything right, but basically it comments on the circle of life, how we always circle back around to the same acts and things, basically. But it is a painting by Diego Rivera, who is Mexican, not Spanish. Mexico is repopulated by Spain, so it's where I think
in a manner of speaking,
right?
But we won't get into that.
Sorry, my words were not my words were poorly chosen, so nobody get mad at me for what I said. That is not what I meant.
No, I took an opportunity to make it funny. That's fine. I'll make it about me, and then everybody will hate me. It's cool.
Diego Rivera was also married to Frida Kahlo, for anybody who's interested in art. Yeah, he was more known for murals, but he also did paintings too.
I see. Actually, so there are two festivals that this references, and it has a lot to do with what you're talking about an offering, but why the offering? Like you said, things happen in circles. We often repeat things. Things are happening in cycles. I looked this up personally until I heard Fede say something specific. Let me do the thing that I researched first. It's the San Juan Festival everywhere in Spain. So June 23rd through 24th, people gather on beaches, parks, and squares and build bonfires to burn old things in the fire. And that symbolized purification and renewal. So basically every year you burn your old crap so that you can make way for the new crap that you'll eventually burn the next year. But Fede mentioned specifically Las Falas, and that references Las Falas of Valencia or Valencia. I said it wrong. Yes, they also had satire or satirical masks as they're parading around the squares and the beaches and the things. And this is based on an old carpenter's tradition. This is the very early roots of this festival. It was around spring. So they'd been working throughout the winter, and they had all these poles and stuff with lights on them and stuff like that to light their way during winter as they're building these big structures. Around March 19th, which is obviously spring, and for 19 days, they would burn the parots, the wood that propped up their lights during winter. They added more old things as well. Like, okay, as long as we're here, let's burn the old rags. Okay. The old things piled up and started to look like they were burning effigies of things. So people decided to burn effigies of things. The old wood used to be called parots, and the effigies that they started to burn are called ninots. This further evolved, and this was where it starts to get a little crazy, to remember how I mentioned mandalas, how a mandala is a beautiful thing that you make that gets erased almost immediately. Mm-hmm. So this evolved into temporary works of art that could cost upwards of millions of dollars that people would buy just for it to get destroyed later. Absolutely insane.
So you're saying that the guy that paid millions of dollars for the banana taped to the wall and then ate the banana was just following tradition?
Exactly. He was Spanish, and he was just following the tradition of renewal. And again, this is all about out with the old and in with the new. This is all about the cycle of renewal, making an offering to whatever so that your next year will be better. And he says, right after I researched this, hoping to be reborn and find new life, a better future before us. And this is as Manuel, the guy who Daryl sliced the fingers of to fall into the Walker pit, is Daryl stalking Manuel and his men. Any other offerings?
Justina and Roberto offered up their chance to escape in order to help two other people.
I think Daryl kind of took
That was
it.
a little under duress.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, instead of out with the old and in with the new, because right, Daryl and Carol's ass is really old.
Yeah.
It was in with the old, out with the new, essentially. How do you feel about that, everybody?
Daryl offered up his arrows to save someone else in return for...
And then he offered up his pistol in Roberto's face.
Wait a minute. The offering that the king made for their loyalty, the gift of, it looked like medicines and alcohol to me.
Yeah, I did see ciprofloxacin at the top. And
Cipro,
Macallan
good old
whiskey.
Cipro.
Yeah, ciprofloxacin and Macallan whiskey. Very high grade stuff,
Macallan.
by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
I might give
Macallan,
up a daughter or
neat.
two for Macallan.
Okay, Rachel, listen, I thought the same thing, but then you pump the brakes and you're like, that is a horrible thought, is it? Anyway.
I don't know. Maybe for some proper 12.
Really? I like Proper 12. It's not Macallan.
Now,
I
if
do
we're
like
talking
it.
Shankies, I'll hand over my whole family.
Any more offerings? Well, I mean, Elena outed herself as an offering, a prior offering, and apparently she is with the purported... By the way, Alcazar is really just the institution. It literally means castle. In fact, the root of the word, the palace or castle, it's derived from the Arabic Alcazar and the Latin castrum, as in fortress. Colloquially refers to old Moorish buildings like the Royal Alcazar of Seville.
In St. Augustine, which was settled by Spain in the mid-1500s, there is a museum there called the Light Tower Museum. It used to be the Alcazar Hotel before it was taken over and turned into a museum. And it was like a huge draw. It had an underground swimming pool, which is now a restaurant. But anyway, they've turned it into an art museum. Beautiful place to go. It does look like a Moorish
fortress.
It looks like a Moorish castle, the architecture. I'm sorry, it's the Lightner Museum.
I figured Charity deserves to hear about the method of torture they used on the man was named Jaime, spelled Jaime. The man where's his daughter for the last 5 years that was used in the Ofrenda. Well, he was tortured using one of many Spanish Inquisition
Spanish
torture devices.
Inquisition. Bringing
One
back
of the
the good old
lighter ones, I might
Inquisition.
add, by the way.
That still looked terrible.
I was going to say equally terrible, but if you've seen Spanish Inquisition torture devices, this one was at least somewhat, maybe we can get something out of this person before they die type of devices. So yeah, Jaime, he's punished on what's called commonly a estrapado, also called a reverse hanging, also called a Palestinian hanging. The victim's hands are tied behind their back and the body suspended by the wrists.
Obviously, this guy had a rope around his stomach as well, which you could see, because his arms would have been pulled up backwards and they would have been ripped out of sockets with all of the weight that was on there already.
And that's exactly what happens. Dislocated shoulders.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Rips your shoulders out. He said more weight, and that made me think of during the Salem witch trials, there was an elderly man named Giles Corey, and he was accused of being a witch, and he refused to go along with them in any way. He basically was like, F you guys completely. He was put to death by pressing, which is they laid him on the ground and put a board on him and then piled stones on top of that board on top of his chest until it crushed him. But every time they would ask him for a confession, he would just say more weight. So he went out an ultimate badass. And then that's what that made me think of. This guy was like, more weight.
Yeah, and looking right at Guillermo Torres.
I mean, the Spanish Inquisition was to root out witches, so it kind of fits together there.
I thought it was just to torture Jews.
It was,
but,
it was
who am I to say?
Heretics, which included a wide encompassing group of people. Basically anybody who wasn't a Catholic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really slims down a lot, by the way. I mean, they're easy to catch, the other ones. Anyway, so the other ones, like the ones that aren't Jewish, they're really like, are you not? Who cares? Yeah. Anyway, on a good day, this reverse hanging commonly does dislocate shoulders. Doesn't always, but yeah, mostly. On a bad day, if they're hung for more than an hour, it does result in death, obviously. Weights can be added to the feet, as we saw. And the whole making the rope go higher, I think, is more for dramatic effect. Because all the rope needs to do is suspend the person. They're already being held by their own weight. So them like just going...
Just exhausting themselves for no reason.
Exactly. So what really bothered me, even though I know it's fake, is the guy just slamming the rocks down on the thing. Not like gingerly putting the rocks on the... Because it's just like the slam. It's like, okay, why? Stop. It's just too cruel. So yeah, those who survive suffer permanent yet invisible damage. So like a lot of people, when this happened, the church at the time say, oh, well, I guess he's not hurt. He's not bleeding. But no, meanwhile, the dislocated shoulders, permanent damage to the arms. Most people never regain feeling in their arms. Most people lose the ability to operate their arms again. Very cruel. And all for what? Is challenging authority, which is a good mirror for Daryl.
Rob and I were having a small discussion before everybody came on, and we were talking about Carol piping up after the dinner and questioning the traditions. And
during
how
the dinner,
Daryl was like looking at her like, shut up, Carol. And Daryl learned his lesson about questioning the people that have you in their power with Negan, because look what happened when he spoke up. It cost Glenn his life. So while Carol is there like, oh, what do you guys, we're here under your protection and your care, but we don't like what you're doing. So why are you doing it? And he's over there like, shut up, Carol. This food is great. This food is so good.
Thank you for your hospitality. I love this conversation because I was going to go the whole other direction with this. Daryl frustrated me to hell this episode. Because I'm looking at him after everything he's been through. The thing that we love the most about Daryl, besides the fact that he doesn't want to go home for some reason, as most people criticized, was that, okay, while he was here, he was reticent to make an impact. But while he was in France, he made an impact. He saved a child. He tried to save people wherever he went. He tried to right wrongs. Now that he's here, none of that. I love that. It's frustrating, but I love it. Because what was one of the biggest critiques? Sharon, you and I were the most vocal about it. What was the biggest critique that I had in season 11 as it pertains to Daryl? What was the biggest one? And it's a 4-letter word. It's a name, and it involves Daryl. What happened in the second trimester? Yeah, Leah, that's right. We were all kind of like, well, what now? Where are the ramifications? Well, we were worried about the ramifications after Isabel also. And I think this is what's going on. Daryl's thinking, I stick my neck out, I get involved, and the people I care about die. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if Laurent is alive. So I feel like that's a lot of what's going on here, but I'm curious to know, first of all, if you guys felt similarly. Let's take their stuff. I'll only take a little bit. Oh, the crossbow is an icebreaker.
Daryl is very much like he wants to do the right thing, but his people matter more to him than doing anything else. So in terms of taking care of Carol, he was willing to throw everything out the window, take from these people, heal Carol, and say screw it to them. And then when bandits came over, or obviously whoever came over was about to kill them, he's like, oh, and now I have to do this in order to get the stuff too.
Why didn't he kill them when the bandits came? Why didn't he just kill them after he took care of the bandits? See, this is what I'm saying. It's very frustrating because be consistent. Like, obviously, Daryl can't help but be himself. Like,
Wait,
okay, he's not going to kill people in
couple?
cold blood.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
He wasn't planning on killing them.
For the same reason he didn't kill Dwight and Sherry.
Oh.
He wasn't planning on
that's a
killing
good
them.
one.
I also want to point out the deep Negan savior vibes going on in this episode.
Okay.
So, Alcazar, he is like the Negan who's not Negan. Instead of coming and taking all of their food and medicine and liquor and mattresses, he brings them gifts. Instead of being a show-off with the lean back and Lucille and the hot dog and all that, he's very quiet and reserved. But he's still this person that runs everything. They're still under his thumb. They're still taking from these people. They are the saviors that are just not quite the same as the saviors. To add to that, Justina looked extremely like Sherry. I mean, she resembled her so much. Maybe that's another reason Daryl didn't really speak up and go against these people, because she reminded him of Sherry with this being like the saviors. We come when we want, but instead of taking your things, we're going to bring you food and we're just going to take one of your girls.
Let's not skip ahead. What did he do with Sherry and Dwight that he didn't do with Justina and Roberto? He let Sherry and Dwight live so they can escape. I think that's what they were attempting to do, right?
Yeah.
Or not escape necessarily, but they ended up being caught by Negan. Whereas here, he brings them back to quote unquote Negan.
No, I didn't even catch
the
that
institution
parallel.
is. Me neither.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that really frustrated me about Daryl this episode too. Mostly in that scene. I understand he's trying to get help for Carol, but he's not really listening to these kids. This is not the place that you want to go to get help. He's so hyper focused on getting her help. There's just not even another option. You're running away from this place, so it must be awful. Where are you planning to go? Why not help them get to the next place and look for help there instead? And him pulling the gun on him, I'm like, wow, ooh, this is Daryl. Calm down.
I love what you're saying because he feels it's necessary because it's Carol. We all agree that it's because of Carol.
I
doesn't want to lose
understand.
his only person he loves here.
I understand the motivation, but the execution is... Well, as soon as he heard not Sherry say that her grandma was a healer, he had blinders on. He's like, that's where we need to go.
Right. And he did it. Why? Because he needed an introduction, right? They don't let in outsiders. And so that's the price, is that he brought them back to get in there. Now, wait, because once he gets in there, to dovetail what you're saying, like, did he have to do that? Did he not have to do that? He asks both Antonio and Roberto, and it's funny when you hear it, when you realize what's happening. He asks Antonio, hey...
You don't need to borrow some tools to fix up that boat.
And then Antonio ignores him completely, goes to Roberto. We'll talk about this later. He leaves. He doesn't answer him at all. Roberto says...
He watches like hawks now. We sneak away secret in the night.
So you got some tools I can borrow?
Roberto goes, FAQ... What is it? DAFAQ?
DAFUQ.
Thank you. Which is to say what? After that, he says...
Maybe I help you fix your boat.
It'll be repaired quicker. 2 eyes are better than one. And maybe, just maybe, you can take me and Justina away so that we can be together. And he goes, F that noise. I don't want anything to do with you people. I want what I want. I'm gonna sacrifice it on the altar of... that's the... Like you said, that's an offering. He offered Justina and Roberto up so that he could get what he wants and screw anybody else. Isn't that what the Negan's lieutenant saying was? We take what we want and something the rest? That's what it was? I think that's what they said.
No, it was Jadis. She said, we don't bother.
Sure. There you go. So he's a trash person. Oh, wait, we knew that already.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a different kind of trash person. He actually speaks somewhat English.
It felt a little out of character for him. In character that he's so concerned about Carol, but his actions were really like out of character for Daryl, which we've seen before. He's stepped outside himself.
I think in a situation that they're in, because he's so worried about Carol's health because she's depleting rapidly, it's going to make him act out of character. He's going to do things that are rash because he's going to that area in mindset. I've got to do something.
And the argument can be made that he just wants to get home to Laurent as well.
That's
the faster he gets Carol healed up, they can get on the boat, they can get back to Laurent, find out what happened.
He lucked into finding people who spoke English. What if they move on and they don't? You know, I mean, it's hard enough in this foreign country that they're in. They don't know how populated Spain is. They just came from England where there was nobody left except one person who they got killed immediately. The chances that they run into somebody else alive who speaks English and who isn't going to immediately murder them is slim.
There's no reason to hold a young couple hostage.
So the queen-to-be and Hottie in the Hat.
Elena and Path.
Whatever. I like my names better.
So one syllable is easier. Lady with the hat?
Hottie with the Hat.
Oh, Hottie with the hat. Oh, that actually has a ring to it.
Yeah.
Did you write that down?
No, it just came out of my face right now. So the queen-to-be and the Hottie with the Hat.
Queen Bee.
Love each other. Yes, they're not just friends. Like they're an item.
No.
And know each other too.
Oh, for sure. Like knew each other way before. Okay, I just wanted some validation on that.
No, I got that vibe.
What I'm more interested in is where do you think the daughters are going? What are they doing with the daughters? I had an idea, but I have nothing to follow it up with.
I think it's what Negan was doing. They're going to be the wife of the Alcazar.
You mean Guillermo Torres?
And he wants a new wife every year.
Right. Negan didn't need 15 wives, but he had them. It's the same thing. They get to go be the queen. They get dresses, and I'm sure they get more than the most normal everyday people do. You know, they get fine cloth, and they have good meals, and they get whatever, treated well or whatever. But they're still subject to this guy.
Where Federico says as much.
And you see when the guy that questioned them at all about it gets hung up by the arms.
Jaime, right? Yeah.
To me, that seemed like over the top.
The punishment?
Yes. Yeah, pretty much. If he hasn't seen his daughter in 5 years, I would assume she's dead. I had a lot of thoughts going through my head as to why they want the daughters. What are they doing with the daughters? If she was taken as a wife, why not grant her, if they're coming back to her village, why not come and visit her dad for the weekend? She's under duress already. They'll kill her if she doesn't come back with them.
What does that lead you to believe, though?
They're not there anymore.
I don't think this queen was from the village that we were in.
No.
She was from another village. Right.
Correct. We know that much. I think they're either possibly being sacrificed in some sort of ritual, some sort of, I don't know, religious ceremony. I don't know.
Quite possible.
I don't know all the
I'm
things.
all ears.
Maybe they're being sacrificed for protection.
They might be being offered up to the other tribe, the guys with the horns that we saw in the last episode.
The barbarians we saw.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was sort of my next thought is we also know there's other communities, villages, other places. So maybe these daughters are being...
Alliance.
Yes, they're being offered to other communities as, oh, look, you know, you get this and a bottle of...
Well, so just to round out what you'd said earlier, which I love. Thank you. Elena's there. Queen Bee, whatever we'll call her. Elena. She's there. But Jaime's daughter isn't there. I forgot what her name was. I don't know if they mentioned her name. His daughter that's been missing for 5 years.
I don't know if he said her name. He just said my
name.
daughter.
Yeah. Okay, so what does that tell you? Does that tell you that you could assume that these women may be Negan's wives, Guillermo Torres' wives, but if he liked Elena the most and she asked to come with him just this one time, figured maybe she was the one. And maybe, like you said, the other daughters, the favorite, maybe the one. Yeah, well, let's just say that. Then maybe the other daughters being passed out is something that Sharon had said in our House of the Dragon coverage. There could be a court. If there's a court, maybe there's all these other men to satisfy. I'm not saying satisfy in that way, but like to marry off to these men.
When Raina and Hat Hottie are talking, she tells her the story about the new girl who came from the village that they are in right now. She came from this village and she mentioned that there was this lady here, but she didn't say anything. She was like, they're scared like they always are, and I comfort them or something like that. I didn't get the feeling that they died or they were sacrificed. My feeling was either they're his wives or, like you were saying, pass them down to the other men as rewards. Because didn't Negan do that? Didn't he reward women?
No, he let
like
he let Eugene hang out with them, but they were not allowed to have sex.
To be with him.
There was one time when Dwight, he was like, you could have any woman or whatever, and he's like, but not yours, basically, but you can go have any other woman.
I feel like
you
that
want.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he only offered Sharon. He said, "Do you want a blast from the past with your old squeeze?"
With who.
Okay. I thought he told him he could pick anyone he wanted, but
Oh, okay.
Mm.
So
but
the
he
opposite.
did use women as a reward.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe in select instances too, like if you really followed what I had to say. Let me take that thought further. This is what I actually think. Because if Path had been going to different cities or cities that Elena liked, the language there is kind of interesting. What if these women, and it's not as much a court thing, what if these women are being passed around the members of the Alliance, these different cities in Spain that are walled and protected by Alcazar? What if it's a means, because there's so few people left, of not diluting the gene pool as well? I mean, maybe it's like a necessary evil to prevent genetic disease or anything like that, to produce the most healthy version of a child in an effort to repopulate the glory of Spain, let's just say. Even we always assume it's a nefarious reason, because it's obviously nefarious. If you're torturing a man for questioning authority, essentially is why he's being punished. It's not because of the daughter and all that stuff, or questioning, oh, how dare you mess with the... No, you're questioning authority. That's why you have to be punished. And that you have to make an example of someone. If you're going through all that trouble, we're always going to assume it's a nefarious reason when maybe there's like a wisdom behind it, some kind. Well, and as Federico says, these women are privileged. They come under their protection. We don't know for sure, but let's just assume what he's saying is correct. They're being taken out of the horrors of this world, which clearly there are, to be protected in an effort to perhaps repopulate Spain, make something nice happen. What he also says in that monologue is, the offering is a symbolism of burning away the new in the hopes of rebirth. There's a specific thing he says that was very beautiful. Hoping to be reborn and find new life, a better future before us. If we're to take him as his word, because there are other things you could say about Federico that you look at him and you're like, I don't know where he stands. But there's some things that I want to pick apart, like the Ofrenda itself. Because who is reading the caller in the Ofrenda when they're announcing the result?
I don't remember exactly who it was.
It's Federico, right? The mayor. And it's this tense moment. Justina's like, it's the fifth time. It's definitely going to be me. Obviously, statistically, it would be impossible that she wasn't chosen after all this time. She knows it. Everybody knows it. Dogs know it. They can smell it off of her. And then it's this hang time. He's reading the collar. He's taking too long to read the collar and say it's Alba. I think that he picked Justina's collar and he said it was Alba. He has to put on a face, and it's something he said that makes me think that after watching this episode. He was making this whole thing about Spain, about how we're our own worst enemy. He says, Spain, our history, we ended up brother against brother, just like England, just like they were saying about how England died during the apocalypse. We conquered the world. We didn't know what to do with it. And then we turned on ourselves. And he says, the reason why I'm in power, my duty is to protect my people from every threat. Do you understand? Even the most persistent one of all, ourselves. What a complex character, if in fact that he's kind of playing both sides. Like, he's trying to maximize the survival of his people, but at the same time, he's also a little tricky. He doesn't play by the rules 100%. The rules for thee and not for me, but like in the interest of his people here, or at least his niece. Justina is his niece.
You have to be that way, or you can't stay in power or lead. You can't be rigid, because if you're rigid, you turn into Ned Stark. You get Ned Starked.
But if you're not rigid, nobody trusts you. You may be the Axeman. You may have to do the bad thing.
It's a very fine line, and that's why it can all go to crap so quickly. All you need is to add Daryl and Carol to the mix, and everything will just disintegrate naturally.
Any one of our gang, take your pick.
Yeah.
Daryl's the last. I think also like Daryl being the last man standing here, having him hear that in his head and seeing it in real life, that Julian was the last man standing. It's not all that it's cracked up to be. And so having seen him died and knowing that that might be his fate, it's pretty lonely, I think. And so I don't think he wants anything to do with anybody. If that's my fate and everybody I meet is going to end up eventually dying, except for the people who were back home, let's say, they seem to not be able to die, plot armor and all that. Well, then let's get home really quick so I don't have to interface with all these other people and their business and whatever. But what did you think about what I said about Federico? My first impression of him initially was he's the bad guy, quote unquote. But paying attention to some of the words he said and the collar thing, I'm not saying that that's what happened, but I'm saying I'm starting to think that that is what happened, that he is protecting those closest to him while trying to follow the rules. I don't know.
He's basically Ezekiel. He's trying to balance. There's even another parallel. We have the pigs. Instead of them taking pigs that have been fed walkers, they bring pigs that are healthy, and because they brought the pigs with them. They bring the pigs, and that's what they put the girls' names on. Which I do highly object to that. Making the girl, putting the girls' names on pigs. He's Ezekiel. Dude's got a cat. What is it with Carol and dudes that have cats?
Well, that's Antonio.
Did you notice a little spark between her and Antonio? Like a little, like I did. But anyway.
Like a little what?
You know.
Like a little,
Yeah. They just had like a little thing. She gave him a little smile. I feel like Federico is like Ezekiel. He's got this home.
He has a cane too.
He's trying to balance against the Alcazar and keeping his people happy. That's what Ezekiel had to do. He had to bend to them and do what they wanted, but at the same time, he also made sure to take care of his people.
He spit in his food, basically. Instead of spit, it was walker meat, basically. That's a great continuation of the parallel between this series and The Walking Dead proper.
I really didn't catch any of that. That's crazy.
I didn't either.
You guys can see so much more than I can sometimes. It's crazy.
This is why it's not the Dave show. If it was the Dave show, run. Hide your kids, hide your wives, unwatchable.
Hide your
Sharing
kids.
these insights.
I'm going to say goodnight, you guys.
She couldn't hack it.
Falling asleep. I'd like to say I hope they get the F out of Dodge before anybody realizes what Daryl did, but then we wouldn't have a season. So obviously everything's going to get screwed up.
Well, I mean, Daryl took out those 3 guys before anyone knew they even went after him, so they're not going to know who did it, right? No, they probably will.
They'll see Manuel's hat, and they'll be like, that's Manuel's hat. Oh, who killed him?
Somehow they'll know.
Yeah. And then they'll get into trouble. And who are these men? They're Guillermo Torres' men. It's the same guys from the Jeep we saw at the end of the first episode who ends up bugging the couple. And it's and so you can go, Rachel. Sorry, I was going to bring up something relating to that, but
good night, you
thank
guys.
You, Rachel. Have a good one. Thank you for coming.
Catch you on the flip side.
Good night, Rachel.
Indeed.
Love you.
Night. Love you.
And then 3. So on that note, great that you brought that up because I was going to go quickly past it. Why did the men want to kill Justina and Ricardo? Why? They said because they'll tell. Who cares? What will they tell whoever? If it's Solas del Mar or whatever. Who cares? You have to remember who these men are, though. If they are with Guillermo Torres, and they're not supposed to be there, maybe.
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe they're doing something. And if they happen to be, let's just say you take them at their word or you don't take them at their word. Let's say they get accepted by, maybe they're not from here, they're from Santiago, as he said. What if Solas del Mar, they take them in? Well, then they'll tell them about the soldiers that harass them on the road. And they'll see them too, because that's where they're headed. Maybe they shouldn't be out there. Well, let's say they're going elsewhere. Who cares? They'll hit in a Lions town. They'll say they saw these soldiers out there in the middle of nowhere. The word will get back. And then, so what were they doing that there? Manuel, he's a bag of poop. And now he's a dead bag of poop. But why was he out there? Why was it so bad that he was caught with his other men out there? Right? He was the driver of the Jeep. But why was it so bad that he got caught out there?
And he had to have gotten caught because he came back without 3 other guys.
Right, exactly. And then found other guys to have dinner with, basically. Yeah. Obviously, nobody knew about this. They didn't tell Federico and Antonio. They said that they were saved by a bunch of bandoleros, right? Some bandits on the road. But they didn't say who it was. And of course, the only surviving bandolero was the driver, whom didn't see or recognize Justina and Ricardo because they were on a different table altogether, right? Mm-hmm. Good thing, because then they saw Daryl on the main table with the big head honchos like Guillermo Torres. All this to say, don't keep your eye off of the reason why it was so bad that they were out there. Reason enough to get Justina and Ricardo killed, to make Daryl take Justina and Ricardo back. So there's something more than just this royalty trying to take these women back. They're doing something else on the side that's not part of the system.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
I'm not going to make leaps on what that is, but let's not keep our eye off that ball. Mm-hmm. And that these people probably deserve to be killed, even though Daryl's like on a warpath and wants to kill everybody basically now. What's the deal with that? I don't like it.
I think he just wants to get the F out of there.
Yeah, but at what price? You're killing a bunch of Laurents. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, if you had to take a guess on what they were doing out there, what would you think it was?
I don't know. Did it have something to do with the big slings of walkers that were in the trees?
Okay. Do you think that might have been their doing?
Possibly. I don't know exactly what the purpose of those. I mean, we don't know what the purpose of those still is.
When they first go to the village, Hat Hottie is herding
Half?
walkers into the holding cell. So it could be that they trap them in the nets and then bring them to the village to use. I guess they're using them as protection or whatever. Like they're like a moat. They're like the
So
tower.
she says, yeah.
The tower moat.
Mhm.
Which is also very savior like.
I will say this. I will tell you what I think is happening, maybe, but I won't tell you why. I love that you said that, Rob, because let's just say these men, Manuel, who all work for Guillermo Torres, who's Alcazar, like the castle, the royalty, the palace, if they're the ones putting the walkers up in the nets in the trees, and there's something that I saw in the trailer leading up to season 3. I mean, do you remember what I said about the nets in the trees, that they have a trigger that might throw them?
Oh,
Like
right.
toss them like a catapult?
Mhm.
Okay. What would they use that for if not for attacking a town?
Mm-hmm.
And what is the goal? What is the Ofrenda about? The goal is to take a childbearing woman. Obviously, you have to be childbearing. Take the one woman out, right? Just one. Negan, just one is all we need to make an example. You take the one out, keep her safe, kill all the rest. Why? So that what is this, like a selective breeding program? And then we only breed the desirables, something like that? Because clearly,
Maybe.
if you catapult walkers into a town to take it down, what's the purpose? And like Sharon said in the last episode, what would farmers do in times of strife, in times of a warring faction? They would bring all the farmers and all the people from the outer lands and bring them into the fortress to keep them safe, right? Well, what if Alcazar is doing the same thing? He's demolishing the outer towns to do the same thing that they did in London, to cordon off everything else, keep them centralized in England. It's like a mini CRM or maybe a major CRM. They tried to do that what the CRM did. You concentrate yourselves with a body of water in the surroundings. You have like some sort of system on the inside. And he's trying to do the same thing England is doing.
Geographically, that's feasible because the geography of Spain is, they're not an island like Britain, but they do have they're on like a neck. Like there's 3 sides surrounded by, 2 sides surrounded by water, 1 side surrounded by Portugal. But
when they have the
but there is there's a neck right there that they would have. You could set up some kind of a boundary there. And actually, I believe most of that is the Alps. Andorra is mountainous and other areas like that.
Do you remember when I said Alcazar is commonly referred to Moorish fortress castle buildings, whatever? Old Moorish buildings. Well, the most famous version of what would be considered Alcazar would be the Alcazar. I said Alcazar de Sevilla. That is a whole village surrounded by a wall, if I'm not mistaken. And if Alcazar is in like a walled city of some kind, that would kind of explain maybe perhaps the game plan. Demolish all the other towns, all the other countryside, do what England did. There's no people or walkers. What? And then what's the end goal? The end goal is centralize people in a central place where they can breed and grow plentiful and then build inside out, kind of like the Commonwealth. They had certain walls and then they kept building out, right? Because you saw they were clearing out little ruins so they can build new structures there. Early on in season 11, small aside about the pigs, because you're upset about them. So this dovetails to what we were saying about the visuals, both what makeup artists do for things to end up only a few seconds on camera. So think about this. They trained for weeks with the pigs to get them to do the racing, the actual racing bit. The actors worked for the pigs for 2 days. And how many minutes were they on the screen? Literally?
Less than 1.
Less than 2. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. Less than a few minutes of screen time. All of that work for that. It just boggles my mind if you think about it. So all of that work just to get these few frames of shots that span however many times. They love the pigs too. You should be happy to know that they're all trained pigs that live a happy life, hopefully.
That's good.
Maybe. They did mention, this is the episode or insider, pigs aren't typically trainable, which is why it took several weeks. So that was a little funny. Something to keep in mind is Zabel says one of the big themes about this season is exploring love in the apocalypse, quote unquote, and also says it's pure love in a dark world, kind of like World Beyond. It's like the beauty in the darkness. Extrapolating from this, it's like what it takes for pure love to exist in a dark world and all the forces that are determined to stop it. Meaning it's not just about survival. It's about the reasons to live. Roberto, I keep saying Ricardo. It's Roberto says this to Daryl. What's the point? Carol wakes up in the morning, right? Remember how you were saying how Carol was making eyes at Antonio? She wakes up in the morning. What's the first thing she does? She looks around the room, the sunlit room. What does she see? She saw all these pictures of Antonio and Roberto and a woman who is no longer with us.
Mm-hmm.
Roberto mentions a little bit later, my father forgot all about that, the reasons to live. Because clearly his father is saying, it's all about survival. I'm willing to make a lot of sacrifices for my son to survive, etc., etc. My son is an idiot because he doesn't know how bad it is out there. Because something obviously bad happened to his mother, Antonio's wife. Whatever it is, it made him retreat. And what is Daryl if not a mirror for that? Isabel died. Laurent's fate is unknown. All he cares about is survival now. He doesn't care about anything else. The reasons to live. And what did we say in the last episode? Okay, I have my dead and I let them go. I have hot dogs, which I'll save for a special occasion, or I'll drink all the scotch. But what's the point about living life? Is it about survival? Yeah, a little. Is it about enjoying things while you're alive? Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. Saving things for a special occasion? Sure, of course. Delayed gratification? I'm for it. But what is all that? What's the thing that keeps the world go around? Isn't it love? Who we get to love?
Without love, you're kind of just drifting. So
exactly what I was about to use. Drifting. And even Daryl's like, I don't want to drift. I just want to go home. Can we just go home?
He's drifted enough. He drifted across the Atlantic. He drifted across the Atlantic. I think he's done with drifting.
I guess the showrunners aren't done with him yet. Drifting everywhere. But what is the point? What's the point of all that? I say this only to say sometimes writers write in response to the audience. And what has the audience been saying the last 2 seasons? Tell me what the audience has been saying in the comment section to every TikTok posts. Don't care. Where's Daryl? Why isn't Daryl home with all his family? This is a response to that. Oh, you want Daryl to go home? Okay, he's going home now. The only thing he wants now is to go home. This is what you get. I don't like it. I like the idea of it, but this is gross. This is gross. Well, this is what it takes, everybody. This is what it takes to go home. You get a disconnected Daryl.
I like that with the Negan parallels, they're making the point that even when you go to a different country with different traditions, the people are still the same.
People are the same all over.
Yes, they may have differences about little things, but in the grand general scheme of things, people are the same and they're going to do the same things no matter where you're from.
Oh, yeah. Human nature doesn't change.
On it. Yeah, our incentive mechanisms are the same too. We want love, we want to protect, we want to rule, we want to dominate for whatever reason. Scarcity, abundance, survival.
We want 15 wives.
I get it.
As me and Sharon were talking about earlier, Carol getting put in her place by Fede's mom and being told like, hey, we found a system, respect that, and you're adrift and alone, and until you find a better way, then come find me.
And she apologizes to Fede about what she said earlier. And I think she meant it too. I think she really did. Basically, Granny was saying, I forget her name. She has a name. She's very well respected. I don't know why I just call her that. But she said, it's one thing if you criticize our way of survival. She says, come to me when you have a better plan. Fair. How many people wag the finger and don't come in with a better option?
How many times have we said if it was the other way around and we had come in on the side of the saviors, we would think they were the good guys, right? How many people would look at the way Rick was doing things and be like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
This isn't democracy anymore.
I mean, how many people would come in and say, what are you doing? This is wrong. You shouldn't be doing this. It's all perspective.
It's all fun and games until you turn into Shane or something worse.
It's all unjustifiable until you can see the motivations behind it. Negan had some good motivations, but ultimately took it too far.
Right. And that's the thing. That's why I don't attribute what Fede and Guillermo Torres is doing to malice. I'm willing to hear out the rationale behind this system. I get that in exchange for the women, they get gifts. I don't think that's enough. I think there's an explanation behind all of this. It could be just the alliance factor, and it's hard out there for a pimp. And I'm kidding. It's hard out there for everybody. And having the alliance means there's trade, which was mentioned. Solaz del Mar being a hub of trade and being a melting pot means when they join the alliance, it'll mean even more trade. It'll be the ultimate form of trade. Everybody will come here, and this will be a hub again.
When they did the drone shot around the village, it looked rather large. So, I mean, I wonder if that entire village is full of people or if it's just a small section that we saw. Yes, we see how big it is on the screen, but how much of it is actually inhabited by people and how much of it is out of bounds or whatever? Do they have enough population to give up a woman every year to these people.
It makes me think that there might be. Another thing they mentioned in the episode or Insider was the filming location. It's purported to be Galicia in the northwest, but this location is in the northeast of Madrid. It is in the Segovia region in a town called Sepulveda. And the reason why they filmed there, which is very interesting, they filmed there because a lot of the extras were from that town. So they thought having the extras in the background of their own town would lend an element of authenticity. They'd be in it to win it. But let's take that to its conclusion. Like you said about fortresses, there's the outer lands, right? But when there's times of trouble, you go inward, or maybe even celebration. If there's a time of celebration, you come into the castle town, right? And then you celebrate in the town square. I think you might be right. I think this situation, this Solaf del Mar, it's kind of like a whole region. And people are in the outer lands. And then when they're ready to come in, or I don't know, or maybe it is a walled city and there isn't that much. It's just the hub. It's like where they're situated is what makes them popular. They said they don't take in strangers. The doors probably barely go open. The fact that they had to sneak out Justina and Roberto to leave.
Every place we ever see says they don't take strangers in, but they always end up taking in the strangers. So take that with a grain of salt, because there's no telling how many other people have showed up and they've been like, "Oh, I'm sick. I can help you," whatever. Just because they don't let strangers in most of the time doesn't mean it never happens.
Well, that was the other reason which made me think that Federico was not a bad guy, because he was so unrelenting. Rightfully so. Like you said, rightfully so. I think it's that it meant so much to him, first of all. And he's the mayor. He's trying not to play favorites, but because this is the law, this is the rule. We don't let people in. We don't let outsiders in. But he sees that Justina was, if not for them, we wouldn't be alive. And he loves his niece. Again, he loves her so much that he cheated on the ofrenda. But that's just my own theory.
I think you're right.
And then not only did he give them the day which they asked for, he gave them 2 days to heal up for good and get out of here.
I was so worried that he was going to be creeping on Justina or whatever. So I was so happy when it turned out he was just a nice uncle.
Uncle?
Fede. Well, when she first, he was like, "Oh my beautiful Justina," and everything. I was like, "Oh man!" But then it turned out he was
it the
just her
man bun?
uncle. I was like, okay.
Because sometimes it's the man bun.
No, it was just the way he was kind of acting. "Oh, my beautiful Justina," when she first came back, and I was like, "Ew."
All right.
They were running away from him or whatever, but that wasn't. It turned out not to be that. I'm glad. I'm glad it wasn't that.
Are any of you Spanish speakers at all in any way?
Very little.
Very little.
Even if you know a little bit of Spanish, if you listen to what he's saying when he sees Justina again, right? Okay, listen to this. He says, "Mira mi coño." He says this to Roberto. He says, "Look at me, pussy." That was not in the subtitles, okay? He says, "Look at me, you pussy." I'm just saying what he said in Spanish. "Mira mi coño." Okay, fine. I love the things that are not brought into translation because it's cultural norm. Coño is not a cultural, I mean, maybe in Spain, but it could have been translated. But it wasn't for a reason, because AMC USA, no bueno. So there's another thing though. In the same sentence, or like in the following sentence, he says to Justina, "You almost got killed, mi vida, my life." That was not in the translations. I just love little things like that give, if you are a Spanish speaker, it gives it color. If you're American, sometimes you want to just get to the point, which is why they didn't include it. Probably less is more. I love the mi vida, my life, which gave me like more of an insight into how he regards Justina. She means a lot to him in ways he does not say in the English language or in subtitles that you wouldn't know unless you were a Spanish speaker. Mira mi coño. It's crazy. I wonder why they didn't translate that. Especially with Daryl going, "This effing food's great." Like, okay, they could have thrown in a pussy.
I don't know if you guys have talked about this before. How are they showing that? Because they're still showing this on cable, aren't they?
Yeah.
So are they censoring, just like beeping it out? Like, what are they doing for that?
No, cable television, you can swear now. I mean, it was like a norm to not swear for the longest time, unless you were a premium channel like HBO or Showtime.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was more of a cultural fear.
Yeah.
That you couldn't.
They're trying to play catch up with keep up with HBO and the other premium channels because that's what people want to hear, I guess.
Yeah, the big thing was broadcast channels.
Coming from the Walking Dead books, like not just Negan, but like even leading up to him, like they were swearing left and right, especially F-bombs. And then obviously when Negan came in, they're like, they can't do this character justice. He swears with every other word. And obviously they did that for the Blu-ray, but not for cable.
I'll say, I think that time in television, you're coming off of like finally television started doing anti-heroes and not more of the swearing, but it's also the content, the kind of violent content that you can show on TV. I think we're still sort of navigating visual and audible sensitivities too. I think we're still trying to figure out the line. It's not just the general line that applies to all shows, but I think it's also the line that what's come to be expected of a show, like especially this kind of show. When is it okay to show too much? When is it not okay to show too much? Mm-hmm. That's a line I think they've been flirting with. Not greatly, by the way. I think they tend to show not enough.
After the lineup, so many people quit watching the show that they had to tone it
exactly.
down. 4 out of 5 people, if you ask them why they quit watching the show, it's the lineup. That was a little too far.
Right. And so what do you do? And it's the content itself, but it's also the visual element of it.
Even Game of Thrones was smart enough not to actually show Ned getting his head cut off. They showed birds flying and they showed his body blurred in the background. You know, like you never really saw it. They did that for a reason because it's a shock, but you can deal with it. But if you had seen it be so gruesome and disgusting, I believe a lot of people would have stopped watching the show right then.
Yeah.
Because it was it would have been too much. Yes, people want to see violence and stuff, but you have to have a limit to what you show people in general.
Not to wax philosophic on something that's happened a long time ago, but I don't think they had a choice. They were damned if they did, and they're damned if they didn't. Because if you pulled away, did they have to show Glenn and his eye popping out? There's an argument for that, but at the same time, that's not the point. The point is that you need to feel this. This is super shocking. This is super horrible. And pulling away would lessen the impact of how horrible it was to lose someone so precious to you.
Again, they just went a little too far. Like you could show Glenn bloodied and calling for Maggie and all that, but the eye was just too far for most people. Like that was just too much. And I get it because like that's one of the reasons I never watched the end of season 6 or most of season 7 anymore. Because I hate that so much. Now, had it been a bad guy character, people probably wouldn't have cared as much. But since it was you have to balance that too. Would anybody cared if we'd seen Joffrey's head get cut off?
They would have been cheering in the streets.
Right. A counter to that is Oberyn Martell, who was a fan favorite. And they clearly showed his head smushed into pieces.
Yep. They could have pulled away, but you started to like him and they wanted to take him away in a spectacular fashion.
Yes.
Which again, that's what you have to do. You have to do it. I mean, you don't have to do it, but again, it's expectations to be expected. This is what I was saying about finding the line. It's because they had a trend of showing terrible things, but it's who the terrible things were happening to that matters. Which it's are you logically consistent if you don't apply that to all people too? Even the good guys, because isn't that what The Walking Dead is about really? It's horrible for everybody, and in some ways you find sympathy with the devil, that sort of situation. Not all bad guys are bad guys. Sometimes they're understood. And so when they die, you're supposed to kind of be like, okay, that's sad a little because they're people too. Not all people are bad guys, like as in like evil. Just brings us back around to the Negan thing. I could mention one more Daryl crappy thing. If everything he's done is bad enough, he comes back to Carol the next morning. She's feeling a little bit better. It was after Guillermo Torres brings the stuff. They sleep for the night, and the Macallan and all that stuff, and the medications. He brings this thing of 6 cans of beans, right? He goes, I got beans for the hot dogs, etc. Where do you think those came from? Because Guillermo Torres says the foodstuffs. He's bringing the foodstuffs in. He stole the cans of beans.
Oh yeah, 100%.
From a town that's probably starving. She asks, did you steal those? And then he just moves past it. Like, yes, of course, he obviously stole those. He so stole those. I'm kind of glad. Because, okay, remember when Rachel said in the last episode, I thought Carol might have bit it? Like, oh, Carol, her plot armor suddenly melted away and maybe she could die. It's kind of the same thing with Daryl right now. Like, maybe Daryl isn't the greatest that I thought he was for all these seasons plus a spinoff. Maybe he's kind of a ish-heel.
I'll still watch him be a deal.
Yeah, of course.
He's not stealing beans to be malicious. I'm assuming they're going to leave and they want food when they leave or whatever. So he's not taking the beans to be like, oh, these people aren't going to have any beans. You know, it's like
no beans for you.
Just to steal it. He's not stealing because he feels like it. Like, oh, hope they starve. No, but it's like banality of it. It's like, well, maybe they'll starve, maybe they won't. I don't care. I don't care.
They don't seem like they're starving. They seemed pretty well.
You know what it
off.
is? It's like neither does the audience to a degree, but love is a hard thing for an audience to forgive. Meaning if you get in the way of love, audiences don't react well. I'm curious to know what other people think in the comments though. I'm curious to know if people see what we're seeing, that maybe we're not liking what's happening here. We're not liking this Daryl. This, I don't give a F.
I
Daryl.
feel like this is just him, like, we gotta go. I want to just kind of be on this path and no more side quests. But he's going to end up in the side quest. It's going to happen.
Yeah, we all know
Otherwise-
it's going to happen because he can't help himself. He saved
Yeah.
those people.
I just want to say he's also not really dealt with Isabella's death.
No, yeah.
Everything's been a rush since she died.
That's it.
A lot of this might just be like deflection or whatever. Like he's like,
Mhm.
I
Projection,
am
yeah.
upset. Yeah, projection. Thank you. I'm upset, so I'm gonna do things just because I wanna, and I don't know how else to process this emotion. I mean, to be fair, did he ever really mourn over Leah either? He's got
No,
some
that's what I was
unresolved
saying
dead
earlier.
chick issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then if I get involved over and over again with women and they end up dying or turning into terrible wraiths after I meet them, is that what it looks like to be the last man standing? This is why I wanted to go back to that. Doesn't sound great. Thanks for cursing me, Beth.
He had the right idea with dog, because just have dog.
And on that note, sexually or like,
No.
'cause we have to talk about this.
If you need,
No.
You said just have dog. I'm like,
No.
well,
I mean, hot
listen,
dogs.
it's the apocalypse.
Hot
I'm not going to
dogs.
judge. Hot dogs, hot dog. Oh yeah, I call him hot dog now for obvious reasons. What obvious reason?
I mean,
Dale?
we don't know what happened to dog, do we?
It's not that obvious. Red Rocket. Anyway, with that, everybody, I've been your host, David Cameo. I was joined by Cosmom09, Rachel Burt, who had to leave a little early because she's tired, and
Lazy Gardener.
And Rob Lucchese at Rob Stuff and Things. And I will fix my YouTube and we'll get that sorted out.
that's right. That's right. You don't have that much on there anyway. I did take a look at it.
Yeah.
So it's just worth it. Rob's, I don't know if you can do underscore on YouTube URLs, but try. I don't know. We'll see. But you can do Rob's Stuff and Things, and then and you'll see Rob's credit at the end of every episode. Yay, because he is a Whisperers tier member, and you could be a Whisperers tier member too if you just join a membership tier, and then you can show up on camera, mic, and lending us your insights. They're wonderful insights because it's bad to be the Dave Show. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week to discuss the third episode of The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon's third season. This was a great episode. Thank you so much, everybody.
Well, thank you.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.
Hasta luego, gringo. Which is a fictitious poster, by the way. Thank you so much for making it to the end of yet another episode of Squawking Dead. This one discussing The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon's second episode of season 3, titled La Ofrenda. And if you like what you've heard, head on over to ratethispodcast.com/Squawking Dead. 5 stars and an eggplant is all we need to know that you love us. But think about telling us what you liked, telling us what you didn't like, tell us what you think we might have missed. Just remember to tell us after every single episode. It really makes a difference in the podcasting universe. It allows us to reach more great people like yourself in order to create even better show, which if you do like this show and want it to continue and want it to do bigger and better things, that's a really good idea to do. And if you really like what we're doing, you can tip us on ko-fi.com/squawkingdead. When you do, you'll get forever access to our Discord, as well as 30 days access to our unedited episode recordings and my pre-squawk insights, of which this episode had many that we couldn't get to, among which were the churrasco scene and the significance of each delicacy that was offered to Daryl and Carol from Antonio's Grill, as well as the famous Spanish figures that Federico mentions near the end of the episode, like Cervantes and all that. You could always look these things up yourself, but there's a reason why you tune into us, and I don't want you to miss that. A tip will get you access to that, but if you are interested in taking your support further, join a membership tier for as little as $4 a month. You'll have more access to our Discord, aka more channels, as well as a whole host of other perks, like even the Walkers tier, the lowest tier, will receive their names in the credits visually on each video-based episode. And speaking of our supporters, Whispers and Survivors receive their name spoken out loud and in the credits at the end of every episode, starting with the Survivors tier, but skipping it because we don't have any members. They receive access to our core channel, as well as a free classic t-shirt every year for their junior producer support. The core channel is basically where we discuss all our cool behind-the-scenes development conversations just between us hosts, as well as any future endeavors that we want to engage engage with that aren't ready for public consumption and discussion just yet. Moving on to our Whispers tier members, starting with the man of the hour, the one who joined us for 2 episodes in a row, Rob Lucchese, who you can reach on TikTok via @RobsStuff_N as in Nancy _thangs. And of course, @Walking Deadhead Rob on YouTube and @Kim.Rowley, the number 1 on Facebook. Really eager to get the 3rd episode down. As I mentioned earlier, you can get our designs via our merch store on YouTube. The link is in the description, and you can always head to our merch store when you head to squawkingdead.com. Tap the main menu on the top left and choose buy merch. I am working on our new merch store, and if you want to gain secret access to it in the meantime, there is a way to do it from our website, which I will not say. Somehow, some way, there is a way to access the designs that are currently configured there now. But in the meantime, I am very, very excited to get those designs up. I am very excited to prepare even more cool things. I highly suggest you check out our membership tiers, as I put in a lot of work to bring a lot more value into slimming them down to 3 tiers, making some of them half the price, adding the ability to join us in episode breakdowns in the Whispers tier, something that we've never done before, but flirted doing it by way of convention announcements, having you, the Whispers, live with us when we break down the news coming out of conventions, reacting to it in real time. But being a full-fledged junior host is a new thing for Whispers, and with just a little extra via that tier and a free classic t-shirt after 3 months, I thought it was a really good idea. I think you should check it out, and if you've been flirting with supporting us before, I think it's a great perk to have and a tier to join. You'll be among many of the elites having access to basically everything except for one thing, which we've reserved for our really dedicated supporters. In any case, I look forward to seeing you and hearing from you real soon. Again, if you have anything to say it in the comments, and your ratings. Like this video wherever it is able to be liked. Share our clips and maybe even our full episodes if there's anything that had interested you and rocked your body and mind, but mostly your body. And just remember that we, you, me, everybody are squawking dead.